absolutely glorious morning. The sun is out, the birds are all singing, and we have beautiful blue skies. Look at those skies. What I thought, I've got quite a wholesome, lovely few days ahead, so I thought that we might spend them together. And so I've just come outside to have a little look. We had some rain last night. I'm not sure if you can sort of see the rain on the leaves there. We had some rain last night. So just coming out to check the garden, and then I'm actually going to pop out to, I want to go to the butcher and I want to go to the sort of farm shop to get like my fruit and veg and that for the week. So I thought I might bring you along with me for that. But gosh, what a beautiful day. Really nice light breeze. Gosh, look at all the mini roses here. Oh God. It looks so nice. I will give you a full proper garden update. Possibly not in this video, maybe on Friday I'll give you like a really good sort of tour around the garden so you can see how everything is looking, what my successes and my failures, because unfortunately there have been a few little failures, but some really great successes. Gosh, I can see the bees from here. I don't know if in this light you can see them coming in and out. Possibly not, it's not the best. This early morning sun is not the best. Alrighty, let's hop into the car and let's head down to the butcher and to the farm shop. I have just popped some chicken in the slow cooker and I've also popped a cup of tea on. I'm obviously back from doing my grocery shopping and all of that. I haven't actually had breakfast yet. It is still quite early, so I've just popped my breakfast in the oven as well. But while I'm waiting for the teapot to do its thing, I thought I would give you a very quick update on the books that we spoke about a few weeks ago now. So I have read both of these books now, and I kind of just wanted to give you my thoughts on them, given that I did share them with you when I bought them. So I'll start with this one. These ones here are the Lady Eleanor Swift Cozy Mystery books. I have read, this is book number 17 in the series. I've pretty much read up to book 17, so I really enjoy this series. They are very much a cozy mystery, as I have said before. This particular one was just really lovely, as I said, really cozy. The setting was in Venice, Italy, which was just incredible. I loved that. Very much made me want to go to Venice. I've not been to Venice before, so You know, just reading about all the beautiful architecture, and that really made me want to go there. So the setting was absolutely stunning. I will say it probably was not my favorite in the series. I absolutely love this series. I do want to say that, and I will buy book 18, 19, 20, I think they're up to 21 now. I will definitely buy all the other books. Just this particular one here, the particular mystery, I won't give anything away, but the particular mystery maybe wasn't to my tastes. But that's not to say that other people won't absolutely love it. As I said, the characters were incredible, the setting was amazing, and I really did enjoy it. It was something I read over a couple of afternoons with like a cup of tea and my scone, and just, yeah, it was really delightful. Very, very happy with that one. And then the other one that I read, so this is my very first time reading any books from this author. So Empire of Shadows, and the author herself kind of puts it between the Mummy movies from the 90s and Romancing the Stone. I will wholeheartedly agree with that. It definitely had those vibes. I personally would think that it leans possibly more to Romancing the Stone than the Mummy, but it has elements of both. It was incredible. I really enjoyed it. There is already a book 2 in this series, so I will be purchasing that. This one is set in like Mesoamerica. It's in the 1800s, what are we saying? 1898 it is set. It was just really great. So it's sort of, you know, a woman, she's not titled, but her family is sort of like mid-class, and, you know, mischief ensues, and she ends up going on like quite an adventure over to South America. She has a university degree in archaeology, and so she's, you know, really passionate about that. And of course there's the, you know, the lovable rogue sort of scallywag over in South America that she meets, and they go on an adventure together, and there's humor, there's sort of action, adventure, it's all kind of in here. If you love those sort of historical action adventure books, so if you loved The Mummy, I love those movies. They are some of my favorite movies of all time. The 90s Mummy and The Mummy Returns, they're just the epitome of cinema to me. There's nothing I can fault about those movies. So if you love those movies, if you love Romancing the Stone, if you love, you know, Indiana Jones, those sorts of things, this book was absolutely incredible. I would say it's, to me, and I don't know if this is even a term, but I'm going to coin it if it's not, it is like a cozy action adventure. So it's just all the warm vibes, there's, you know, humor, there's action and all that, but it's not super crazy intense. So if that is something that you are looking for, I would highly recommend this. And I can hear my teapot is just about to go, so I'm just going to grab that and pour my tea. So I just thought I would give you a very quick close-up of the 2 books. So that is them there. So neither of these have like a cliffhanger, but they are in a series. So in both of them, there's sort of, the characters obviously continue through the series, but the sort of, what is the word? The journey, the, you know, adventure that they're going on in these books, you know, the crime that they're solving, that kind of thing, it basically starts and finishes in these books. So there's no cliffhangers or anything. I am not a fan personally of the cliffhanger. I really enjoy when characters, you know, move through and there's multiple books in a series, but I like for a story arc to start and finish. I'm not a huge fan of when it carries over 3 or 4 books. Yeah, not my cup of tea. But so these both are like that. So even this one here, while both the main characters will continue to, how it ends leads into a second book, which has already been released. The main sort of adventure that they go on in this book starts and finishes and is completely sort of wound up in this one. So you're sort of not finishing the book on a cliffhanger and not knowing what sort of happened. But I just thought I would mention that just in case you were worried that they were cliffhanger books. They are not. But I'm very excited to purchase the second one in this series. I think that that will be incredible. And I thought I would just give you a bit of a close-up of what I am making in here. I know. So what I've got in here is chicken. So just chicken breast. And I've got a tin of just diced tomatoes. You know, like those $2 tins of diced tomatoes, and I've got ground paprika, salt and pepper. And basically I just pop this in the slow cooker for 8 hours on low, and it just makes really delicious chicken. And it just falls apart at the end of it. So I sort of prep this today, and then later this evening I'll take this out and kind of pull it all apart, and then I will have that for the next few days for like lunches and things. I'm sort of making salads and that. So I will pop this chicken in the salads, or if, you know, I want to have it on sandwiches or anything, I can do that with this. Very, very, you saw how simple that was to do. Takes me maybe 30 seconds, and you've got some really delicious, easy chicken. Now, this is probably a very niche sort of thing to share with you, but just in case anyone else has these as well, I wanted to quickly just share them. I apologize for the lighting over there. It was really sunny this morning, but it is very overcast now. I wanted to show you this here underneath. This is a quick dry dish mat. So I've got a dish drainer here. I don't always use the dishwasher. Sometimes for me, because I'm not a family or anything, it is just easier for me to just hand wash one plate and pop it in here. So I have the dish drainer, which is like a metal drainer, and then underneath it I have this quick dry dish mat. And normally when you get them, they're just quite a hideous sort of a color, you know, like a plain gray or a plain black, or any, goodness me, a plain gray or black, which is not very inspiring. But I found this one at Adairs, and it is like a wildflower floral print, which is absolutely gorgeous. And it comes with a matching dishcloth, you know, for like wiping down your benches and things. I don't use this to wash my dishes, but to just sort of wipe down the surfaces and things, I use this. So this is just made with cotton and wood pulp, and it's lovely. It's very soft, incredibly absorbent, and you can wash them. So they will eventually obviously wear out, but I just thought they were so pretty. Like, look at that print. So I got those from Adairs. They were in the sale, and I don't know, you couldn't get them online anymore. You actually had to go in store. So if you are in Australia and this is something that you use, highly recommend these ones from Adairs. I'll actually show you. I'm going to pop you down for a moment. I actually bought a few of these. I'll show you what it looks like in the packet. All right. So as I said, I got these from Adairs, and I couldn't actually buy them online anymore. They weren't available. They'd sold out online. So I was able to pick up a few in store. So just to show you, this is a drying mat. So that's the one that I've got under sort of my dish drainer. I bought a few because I will wash them, obviously. So I'll sort of have it there for, you know, a few days, and then I'll take it and put a new one, like a fresh one, down, and then wash the other one. So one side's got this really gorgeous floral print, and then the other side's got this really just sweet green sort of striped print on it. I have to say I do like the floral print better. And they're very soft, and they're obviously made from like a quick dry material, and there's sort of like a reasonable sort of, you know, cushioned thickness on them. So I bought a few of those, which I'm just really I'm so happy about. I follow someone online on Instagram, and they sort of have this saying where it's like, every little thing is an opportunity for unlimited artistic expression. And basically it just means that everything is an opportunity to have something beautiful. Like your doorknobs should be beautiful, and, you know, your chairs and your cutlery and every little tiny thing. And even this, like, you know, your quick dry dish mats to have something that's beautiful. Every time I see it in the kitchen, it's just so joyful, the print. Like, it's very much like a spring sort of floral print, but I think that that's absolutely gorgeous. So happy with that purchase. And I bought them in store, and I think Adairs had like a 30% off. I'm not sure if Amazon or someone like that would have something like this online. So these sort of quick dry dish mats, but in really pretty sort of different prints. I've actually not had the opportunity to have a little look online, but if you're not in Australia and you're interested in one of these, you might be able to pick up something like this online. And then very quickly, these are the, going the wrong way, dishcloths. So as I said, I actually don't use these to wash the dishes or anything, but I do use them for sort of like these, like wiping down the surfaces and such. Gosh, it's very hard to do one-handed. And so, there we go. The little pack that you get comes with 3 different styles of sort of print. So you've got the floral with the white background, the floral with the green, and then the green stripe. So they sort of, when you buy them, they're quite stiff. I mean, not super stiff, but they're quite stiff. But then once they get water, they really soften up, and they actually kind of fluff out a little bit. They get quite soft. And so they're just made with like a cotton and wood pulp. As you can see, machine washable. And they're just very much a quick dry, which is definitely what you want in the kitchen. I just wanted to share them with you very quickly. I've never seen anything like this, and I was just delighted to see them in store. It was very much happenstance that I happened to be in store and even looking. I wasn't specifically looking for these items, but yeah, the ones I had before were just terrible colors. No prints, the colors were awful. I mean, I've got these types and they're, you know, fluoro yellow or orange or just terrible, no nice prints or anything. So having these very beautiful prints really just makes cleaning up in the kitchen a pleasure. Blue sky looks like it's coming back over in this corner, which is great. I'm going to have some quick breakfast, and then I've actually got to pop out again. You all know we had Honey staying with us. So Honey has now, her family has come home and Honey has gone back to her family. She was just, oh, an absolute sweetheart. Just, yeah, she was hilarious, had such a gorgeous little personality. So she's gone back to her family. It's been a couple of days since that. But another friend is actually going away, and we will be getting her little baby, her little puppy, today for a few weeks while they are going on a cruise. So her name is Pippa. You have met her before. If you've sort of been hanging out with me on YouTube for a little while, you will have met Pippa before. But I've got to pick up Pippa today, so I will introduce her to you once I get home. But I will have Pippa's just delightful little self for the next few weeks. She's just adorable. She's so small, and she has this, I mean, I'll show you, but she has what she calls, what we all call whaley. So it's this little stuffed blue whale that she just it's like her emotional support whale, and she just carries it everywhere. It's her best friend. It's really, really cute. So I'll introduce you to Pippa, and I'll show you her little whaley. And yeah, as I said, it's just going to be a really fun couple of days, very wholesome, very sort of easy. But I'm going to go and have some much needed breakfast now. I'm absolutely starving. And so we've had quite the turn in the weather. As you can see, it is very much raining. So it's very much a cozy afternoon. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and maybe just cozy up with my book. But I have had my little guest arrive, so I thought I would take you to introduce you to her. I think she's sleeping at the moment. So I just wanted to introduce you to little Pippa. And this is her little whaley. So this is, as I said earlier, her emotional support whale that comes everywhere with her. And she's a very good girl. Quite a timid little dog, but very well behaved, very quiet. I'd say she's maybe about 9 now. So much older than Honey was. Honey was just a big ball of energy and joy and that, whereas Pippa just seems to be a little bit quieter, much happier just to sit here with her little whale on her little bed. Yes, so as I said, I've got Pippa for a few weeks now while her family is traveling overseas. So it'll be very nice to have her. So you'll no doubt see her over the next few videos. She's very cute. And yeah, little whaley. Good girl. Hey. Getting all comfy for her afternoon nap, considering that it's very rainy and a little bit cold. Not cold, but cool at the very least. Definitely a cozy afternoon. So this is the book that I am just starting. I'm not sure about it. I've heard very good things, but I just don't know if it's going to be a little bit silly, maybe. I know that there's already 3 books out in the series, so this is the first one. But I will sort of get stuck into this afternoon while it's all rainy and get all cozy on the couch. I'll let you know my thoughts. Hopefully it's really good. I'm hoping it kind of has, I think I read The Spell Shop, and it was like a really sort of cottage core kind of vibes, and I'm sort of hoping this is maybe like that. Everyone's kind of saying, you know, it's quite whimsical and a charmingly whimsical delight. Apparently. We shall see. I'll let you know what my thoughts are. Well, good morning. It is the next day and it has been a very productive start to the day. I've done several loads of washing. I've popped on this absolutely delicious lamb and vegetable stew. I've got my kitchen scraps here ready to go out to the worm buffet, and I've also popped fresh, clean sheets on the bed. So definitely a productive one. So I'm just going to finish doing the dishes. I'm going to take these kitchen scraps out, and I may actually also harvest some leeks and rosemary to pop in the stew. So I'm just walking through the laundry to take the kitchen scraps out to the worm buffet, and I thought I would just very quickly show you one of the other little garden experiments that I've got going at the moment. So basically I just did a cutting of these gorgeous water plants that are just prolific in the kitchen area. I literally just, hopefully you can kind of see, you can see down there, I literally just cut them off, and then I've just placed them in these glass jars, and they have been in here for probably 2-3 weeks now, and they're doing really well. So they've definitely not sort of died off or anything. They have not started to grow a root system as yet, but it is very much early days. So I'm kind of just keeping them in the laundry to kind of baby them a little bit. They do get some sort of filtered light, you can see in here, but then if they work really well, we will do another cutting, and these will go into my sort of bookcase library area to replace the plants that I lost. But yeah, so these are doing really well. I'm very happy with that. I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago. When we were at the garden centre, we were looking for some water plants there, and I just sort of thought, save my money and I could do a little cutting from what I already have growing successfully at home. But yeah, nothing fancy at all. I've literally just, you can kind of, hopefully you can see in there, I've just cut off the little, you can see here, I've just cut it off and placed it in the water. And yes, they've certainly not, like I said, it's been maybe 3 weeks, I'd say now, something like that. And they're doing really well, just no root system yet. So I'm wanting to just kind of keep an eye on them to make sure that they do establish a root system. And then if that works really well, then they'll go into my bookcases, and I might do another little cutting because I've got 3 spots in the bookcase for plants. Yeah, so very happy with that, and we'll be very happy if they do well. That will be quite the little success story. I'm going to pre-apologize. You can hear all that sound. That is actually my neighbor at the moment. They are pressure cleaning, but I wanted to very quickly show you this display of mini roses. Aren't they just incredible? These little roses all around the yard have just been doing so well, and you can see we've got all little buds coming up. Absolutely such a sensational display of the florals, and they're so long lived as well. Gosh, they look incredible. I will give you a full sort of garden update on Friday, and we'll have a really good walk around and kind of just see how everything's going. And as I said, I've definitely had some failures and I've had some successes in that, so I will share all of that with you. But I've just brought out my kitchen scraps, and I'm just going to pop them here into the worm buffet. I am about to take the lid off here, so if you do not want to see into this little composting thing, avert your gaze now. It's not super disgusting or anything, but there are already kitchen scraps in here, so just pre-warning you. So I've had the worm buffet for about, I'd say 3 weeks now, and it's going really well so far. There's definitely no smell or anything like that. I'm not doing anything special with it. I'm literally just pouring the vegetables in. I'm not putting any paper or cardboard or anything in there as yet. So I have just been popping the vegetables straight in there and kind of keeping an eye on it. The worms are definitely breaking down the vegetables in there, which is brilliant, and so hopefully they're kind of tracking those nutrients throughout the kitchen garden bed. So it's been going really well. It is still very much early days, but I just wanted to give you that brief little update about the worm buffet. If you're interested in the worm buffet and you've not watched that vlog where I install this, I highly recommend that you watch that one. But yeah, no smell or anything. It's definitely breaking everything down well, and I'm still kind of just experimenting with, you know, what scraps I'm popping in here, what breaks down really easy. And yeah, so very happy with that so far. But as I said, still early days. It's only been about 3 weeks. So, you know, I don't want to speak too soon. So as I said, I just want to harvest a little bit of rosemary to go in the stew. So I'm just going to cut off probably one of these little sort of end bits, just to give the stew a little bit of flavor. So I'm going to take that in with me, and I'm also going to harvest some of the leeks. Gosh, it's so noisy. I don't know how loud this is on for you, but I've just harvested one of the leeks here. It's actually quite a large one, so I might just stick with the one leek for now. But I'm going to take that around to the potting shed side and kind of just clean it up a little bit, and then I'm going to add the rosemary and the leeks to the stew. Okay, I've just diced up the leek and popped that in, and I've also popped some rosemary throughout, and then I've just done a little sprig of rosemary on the top just to kind of give it that really delicious flavor. I think rosemary goes so well with lamb. Oh, I'm looking forward to that later. It's already starting to smell so good. So to continue with our kind of cozy, wholesome theme of this vlog, I've got the lamb stew bubbling away just behind you there, and stewed, so dinner's probably in about maybe an hour, I would say, and I want to make a fresh garlic and rosemary focaccia bread to go with the stew. This is an incredibly quick and easy recipe. I have actually made this with you before, but it was quite a while ago, and I literally almost make it once a week. It's very easy. It's very adaptable in the event that you have any dietary requirements. So we're just going to get into that very quickly now. So I've got some fresh bread to have with my stew. So first things first, you just need to have some flour. I'm going to be using gluten-free flour because I'm gluten-free. Obviously, if you're not gluten-free, you could just use normal flour. So I've kind of already got my ingredients out here, and I'll go through them as I start to pop them into the Magimix. I will be using my Magimix to make the bread. If you don't have any sort of like Magimix, KitchenAid, Thermomix or anything, it's not a problem. You'll just do the exact same thing that I'm doing in a bowl. So yeah, don't stress if you don't have something like this. So the first thing that you need to do is preheat your oven to 100 degrees Celsius, and you want to kind of leave that on there until your oven lets you know it has reached that temperature. So my oven is preheating to 100 degrees, and then once it reaches that temperature, I'm going to turn the oven off and just leave it warm in there, so that once we've got the bread dough ready to go, we'll just pop it into the oven to prove. So first ingredient I'm going to be putting in is flour. So as I said, I'm using gluten-free flour. If you're not gluten-free, you could use whatever flour you normally use. So you need 3.5 cups of gluten-free flour. So that is 3 cups there. So I'm just going to do 1/2 cup. And it looks like I'm going to need to top up my flour. So after your 3.5 cups of flour, the next thing you need is 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And then you need 2.25 tablespoons, teaspoons, so 2.25 teaspoons of dried instant yeast. And then you're going to pop some salt in. It is a focaccia, so you do want to kind of pop a fair amount of salt in. Now, the recipe doesn't call for this, but I put in some dried rosemary just to give it a little bit of that flavor. And I also pop in some garlic powder. So the next thing you're going to need is 2 cups of water heated to around about 43 to 45 degrees Celsius. If you have a microwave, you can do it there. I actually don't own a microwave, so I'm going to just do mine in the kettle, and I just have my little temperature gauge here. So this is just the cooking temperature gauge. So I'm going to do that next. So while I'm waiting for my water just to heat to that 43 to 45 degrees Celsius, I'm just going to also check my oven. So just remember, I said that you need to heat your oven to about 100 degrees Celsius. Once it reaches 100 degrees Celsius, you need to just turn it off and let that warmth stay in the oven. So upon checking my oven had reached the 100 degrees, so I've just turned that off and kept the door closed. While you're waiting for your water to heat, the other thing you can start doing is getting your sort of tin, pan, whatever you're using to prove your bread ready. I'm actually just using a cake tin, and I'm just popping some baking paper down so that once we have the dough will be quite sticky. We'll just transfer the dough into here to prove it, and then once it's proved, which I will show you, you then can just take sort of the towel and the cover off, and then I actually bake it in this exact same tin. It just makes it so much easier and so much quicker than trying to swap from your proving tin to your baking tin and all of that faff. Does away with all of that. So yeah, while you're waiting for your water to heat, you can also get that ready. All right, so my water has been heated up now. So I just wanted to mention as well, make sure you do not overheat your water. If you overheat your water above 45 degrees Celsius, you will actually kill the yeast and your bread dough won't rise. So with mine here, I've just been heating it in my teapot. If I check the temperature there, mine currently is sitting at 44.9 degrees. So perfect temperature. And then basically you just pour the water in. And then obviously if you're not using a Magimix or anything like this, you'll just mix it by hand, but I'm just using my Magimix and I'm using it on the bread setting, and I'm just basically mixing all that through. And then we're just going to pop in our last 2 ingredients. We're going to put some olive oil in. Now, if you like your olive oil, you can put a fair amount of this in. I'm not a huge fan of my focaccia bread being really oily, so completely up to you. So I'm just going to be putting 1 tablespoon of olive oil in. But if you like your focaccia bread to be quite sort of like moist and oily like that, you can put more in. It's kind of one of those play it by ear. And then I'm also just putting in a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And that is all of our ingredients done. So I'm just going to give that another mix, and then it's ready to go into the oven to prove. So that is how my dough is looking. As you can see, it is really quite like sticky and a little bit runny. It's not like a sort of traditional kind of bread dough. And I'm just going to pop that in. Hopefully you can see. I'm just going to pop that into my prepared little tin. All right, so that is what it currently looks like. So I'm going to pop this in the oven now. Remember, we heated the oven to 100 degrees Celsius and we have turned it off. Do not have your oven on. So you want to pop this in the oven for half an hour, so 30 minutes. not on, just reminding you, don't turn your oven on, and that will just prove the dough and it will expand. So I will come back in about half an hour and we'll have a look at it together. What I tend to do is pop a little bit of baking paper over the top, and then I just get a little clean tea towel and kind of cover it like so, and that is how I pop mine into the oven. All right, so my timer has gone off and I've just taken my bread out of the oven. So I'm just going to take the little cover off, and as you can see, it has proved very well and it's pretty much doubled in size. That is what you want. You want it to kind of look like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could take this opportunity to kind of do some sort of decorative design on the top. I know I've seen a lot of that online. I'm not going to do that. I want it to be really quick and simple. So once I've taken the cover off, as I said earlier, because I've proved it in this, I'm also going to bake it in this cake tin. You're going to want to heat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius, and then you kind of, depending on your own oven, I put mine in at 200 degrees for around 25 minutes, and that just gives me a really nice focaccia loaf. So kind of play it by ear, maybe set your timer for 20 minutes and just see how you sort of feel about it. If you like your bread a little bit more crispy on top, you may also want to bake it for a little bit longer than that. But I'm just going to pop it in now, as I said, 200 degrees, around 25 minutes, and then I will come back and I will show you the end product. Oh my goodness, I wish smell translated through the camera, because the smell of the stew, it's just bubbling away there and it smells incredible. My mouth is watering, it smells so good. So I'm going to get this in the oven so I can get stuck into my dinner. That is my bread out of the oven. Absolutely delicious. Oh, it smells so good. Fresh bread always just smells the absolute best. And the top is a little bit crispy, which is lovely, but inside it's so soft. I'll get a bread knife and I will show you. And it's such an easy recipe. I mean, you saw, we basically just put the ingredients in. That whole process took us, what, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to do? And then once the ingredients were in, we just basically mixed it around, and that was it. That was sort of the difficult part of it, and then it was just proving it and like the time. But you can see in there, it's super hot out of the oven. It is so soft and just delicious. And that sort of, I've added the garlic and the rosemary, and that just gives it that really just delicious flavor. So I am going to kind of do my dishes and clean up after myself. I'm going to leave this out for a little bit to cool, and then I'm going to kind of dish up my stew, have my fresh bread, and that's basically my dinners for the next couple of days, done and dusted. Really delicious, really hearty, and for times like this, you know, when you're having those sort of wholesome days, when it's still a little bit cold, kind of, you know, those sorts of vibes, I think, yeah, stew and bread, you cannot go wrong. So I'm actually going to leave this vlog here. I think it is actually getting quite long. We've sort of spent the last 2 days together, and I hope you've enjoyed kind of this different sort of style. We've been doing a lot of garden content recently, and I kind of thought it would be nice to just change it up a little bit and kind of have a bit more of like a wholesome, cozy sort of vlog. So I hope you have enjoyed that. I have loved spending the time with you. I've loved sort of sharing everything. We did book recommendations, we had homeware, we went to the farm shop together, we've made stews, we've made chicken, bread, we've harvested things in the garden. It's all just been in here, very cozy, very wholesome. And yes, I will bid you farewell. I hope you have a really incredible rest of your week. And as I mentioned yesterday in Friday's video, I will give you a bit of an update on all of our garden projects that we've done over the last couple of weeks and just sort of show you where everything's at. So I will see you on Friday. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you later.